Notice was sent to the West Bend Daily News, Express News, WIBD, WMBZ Radio, WTKM Radio, My Community Now, Hartford Times Press, Kewaskum Statesman, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and so it is properly posted. Right. Please rise for a moment of silent prayer and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. While I quiet this down. We'll do that one too. Okay. All right. First, I'd like to welcome the members of this committee to the first meeting of the session. I'm excited to be working with you on this committee on behalf of the residents of Washington County. I'm also excited to be working with the Land Use and Planning Department and their staff. We have a new member on this committee, which is Bob Hartwig. Welcome, Bob. We're really happy to have you here. Your experience in farming and all the rest of that will be a huge asset to this committee. So I appreciate you being here. All right. First, we have the consent agenda. Are there any changes or notations or anything that needs to be covered on that? And no move is necessary, but we do have cost sharing contracts, and those things are simple pass-through items. Bob, are you familiar with those? The cost sharing contracts? Yeah. That we're basically the committee of record. We don't really do anything with them. We merely kind of pass through our committee. So that's why they appear on the consent agenda. And you're probably familiar with some of those that they do for manure storage and things like that. So that's what it's all about. Thank you. All right. So there's no objections to the consent agenda. We'll go ahead and consider that as approved. Our next item today is election of vice chairman. I will take nominations from the floor. I'd like to nominate Carol Mary. Okay, we have a nomination for Carol Mary. Do good. Do you accept? Yes. He does accept, so you can't yell at him now. All right, any other nominations? Any other nominations? And any other nominations? All right, we'll consider the nomination process as being closed. So seeing as there are no other nominations, Carol Mary, congratulations. Thank you. Welcome aboard. I look forward to working with you. Moving on. Okay. Before we do that, go on to the next item, I just want to say that we will be covering in a little bit more detail our Fair Park plan. I think having Carol be the vice chair will be very invaluable to the process that we're going through over at Fair Park. So you'll hear a little bit more about that in a little while. Mm-hmm. Okay, next thing on the agenda, we'll start with our orientation and committee procedure. So each committee is going to be getting a little bit of an orientation. We're doing things a little bit different this time around. And so I will call on our chief of staff, Mike, to go ahead and start us off, and him and Brad will lead us in our orientation. Go ahead, sir.
Yep. Thank you, Chairman. And thank you, members of the committee for being here. So this is a month and a half ago or so, I gave a pretty wide ranging orientation to the full body for this board. We went through a lot of different issues and um, components of your job, whether it's policy, admin, um, points of legal clarity. And so it was really important, I think, for this board to have that orientation. This orientation is kind of the next step in that. So more contextualized for this committee. And it's not gonna be as long either, but we're here, me and Brad are here to kind of give you a shorter version for this committee and for your role on this committee. What the committee's gonna be working on and what we're gonna see as we move forward in the term, going through policy items and other items going through the committee. So we'll start with Brad, our county attorney. He's going to give a legal rundown of this committee, and then we'll move forward from there. So Brad.
Okay, so what I like to start out by just reminding the committee a little bit about the matters that it will oversee over the course of the session that we've just embarked upon, and to remind you that we are the standing committee in this room for the following departments within the county: the Planning and Parks Department, Community Development Department, Natural Resources, the Golf Course, the Register of Deeds, the Board of Adjustment, the Committee on Agriculture, Extension, and Conservation, the UW Extension, Sewer PAC, the Agricultural and Industrial Society, to the extent they report here. And as the chairman referenced a few moments ago, this committee supervises and serves as the liaison committee for Fair Park and is responsible for supervision of Fair Park's grounds and structures. And we'll also have oversight over the lease that we have currently out there with AIS. So those are the main sorts of topics you'll be viewing and visiting this session. One of the things that I also wanted to talk to you about for a few moments, and if I'm getting ahead, Mike, let me know, but a little bit about some of the procedures that are going to be a little bit different this go around this session. In the past, you'll recall what we've typically done is an item comes up on the agenda and right away somebody asks for a motion and a second, and then a presentation is given and off to the races we go. That's really not the best practice. And I think going forward, what we'd like to see implemented is the following procedure. When an item comes up on the agenda for a presentation or discussion, a resolution, ordinance, something like that, you'll get that presentation first. There'll be no need for a motion and a second right out of the gate. Okay. And the reason for that is because we want to give you an opportunity to hear the presentation first, ask whatever questions you want to ask first, have whatever discussion you want to have first, and then decide if you want to make a motion and a second and pass the item or consider the item. Okay. So essentially, we're almost doing things in reverse. But I think the idea here is that if we take the motion and second last, you've had a chance to vet the matter, ask about what it is you're being asked to do, and then decide if it's the right thing or the proper thing if you want to proceed. So it might take a little practice, a little time to get used to that, even for us probably, but we think it might be a better way to allow you to get all the information you need before you're called upon then to decide to bring a motion or an amendment or something like that. So we're going to try to push for that this session. We think it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And then
Brad,
this is
quick question on that. Okay, so in that process, basically what we're doing is we'll have item A. I call on Jamie. Jamie, please bring us item A. She says a few words about item A, tells us about it. At that point, would we be discussing and questioning before motions, or could we? I mean, I guess questioning because you want to get clarification on it.
Absolutely.
And then discussion. I like it. I hate it. Do you want that before motion, or should we have motion before
I think you can
committee discussion?
I think you can do that before the motion, because don't forget, the only reason you're making a motion is to take some kind of action. Our agendas say discussion and possible action. Have your discussion. When a motion is made, whatever that motion might be, and a second is made, the purpose then is to discuss that motion and whether or not you want to proceed with that motion. Okay. I think you have to have the freedom to have those discussions up front, ask whatever questions you want to have up front before being tied down to some motion you may not support. So this gives you a chance to decide what motion to make after you've gotten all the information you want and need. And it might be a motion to refer it elsewhere. It might be a motion for more information, might be a motion to postpone, who knows? But if you make a motion right out of the gate to pass some sort of resolution, and you decide you don't want to do that, now you're in a box. Now you have to come up with a different motion to postpone or amend it. We want to avoid having you put in that position. So you make the motion that you want to make after you've gotten all the information you need to make a reasoned decision.
Okay.
Isn't that kind of a reversal of Roberts?
No. It's actually following Roberts.
Motion.
Yeah.
And a second before you could bring it up, bring it officially for discussion.
Discussion is about the motion you're bringing and about whether or not you want to proceed with that motion. You can have discussion before that to gather the information, decide if the motion you want to make is what you want to make or a different one. So.
Because you could, actually, the committee is totally up to the committee to decide to not bring it to the floor and not even take a vote. We hate it so much, we don't even want to bring it up.
Right.
So, go ahead, Mr. Krebs.
I was just gonna say that leaves the opportunity for it to die due to lack of a motion. After a motion is made and seconded, the discussion has to be germane to that motion, then, correct?
Correct. Correct. And discussion should always be germane to the agenda item. Obviously, you got to stay on agenda. But the motion you decide to make might not be the motion that you think you're going to make. It might change depending on the information you receive. So we're trying to give you that freedom this session. And, these are rules of the board. These are Robert's rules. These are not laws. If we change one or break one, no one's going to be hauled out of here by the sheriff. If we want to change things as we go along throughout the session, we certainly can. But we think this is a nice way to start the session and see if we can't give you a little more freedom.
And I'll just add to that, this guidance that we're giving here as part of the orientation for all committees, this is committee process procedure best practices, right? This is about really honing the process and helping you do the best job you can do as members of this body. And that's what we're here to do, is to help you serve as your guardrails as you do your job. And I'll just say, when I was, right off the bat, when I came on board for the county, I reached out to every board member and I grabbed coffee with them or met them at my office or met them in their districts. And something that I heard a lot was, in the committee, in the boardroom, when we're going through these items, as part of our jobs, we would like some help, frankly, with procedure, with rules, with, what's the best practice here. Because it's, as you're all returning members, it's a lot, right? And you're busy going through committee reports and delving into the policy, and the help for the procedure has been asked. So, and that's part of my role for you. So going forward, and that's part of Brad's role too. But going forward, we would just say, please, lean on me, on Brad. We're here to help you and protect you. And so I'll just want to make this point that, we're here to help you do your jobs, but with the committee procedure and helping kind of follow the rules, it's all about protecting you guys, right? And making sure that you're not, doing things improperly or getting kind of loose with stuff. So we're here to protect you and help you. And so this term, please feel free to reach out or ask us questions and as much as you want. So, and then I wanted to follow up to that point with another part of the orientation. Just wanted to go through a few things here, or actually I'm going to back up a little bit. So far in the term, in terms of help for procedures in the committee, in the boardroom, you've all been emailed a couple of emails, I believe, for me when it comes to, Robert's rules, procedure, best practices. And I think as the term goes forward, you'll be receiving more communication from me, possibly Brad, on procedures, on guidance, just, more help for you. So I think we've laid out, some goals that are totally doable in terms of how we can realize that help. But going forward, we're going to, keep helping you and helping the whole body with doing that. So I just want to make that point. So, and I wanted to continue on to another point of the orientation, which is related to policy. This term and in this committee, as with the rest of the committees, there will be policy items, big and small, resolutions, ordinances, right? You're tasked with going through that and making informed, reasonable votes and decisions, right? As a staff here, for the board, much in the same way when it comes to procedure, when it comes to policy, I'm here as your staff to help you through those policy items with research, with questions you might have. You may have a policy item come through an agenda, and that may lead you to want to investigate an adjacent issue, right? Or conduct more research, or really get to the bottom of a policy question you have that you're maybe unfamiliar with, or you really want to dig into and learn more. And I'll just want to reaffirm as the staff here, for you, please lean on me for your questions. And any research you want done, any work you want, any follow-up questions with the department. I'm here to help you and be a shoulder for you to lean on. So in another committee hearing, I'll just give you an example. There was an item that came through, and a committee member reached out to me for additional questions on that item, additional questions on the issue area in general that item belongs to. And so I've been working with them on getting those answers for them and getting them that information. But that'll help inform them as a decision maker, as a vote on this board. And so going forward here in this committee, if you have that or anything like that, please lean on me, and I will do my best to advocate for you and your positions and your questions. So just wanted to reaffirm that. When I met with all of you and the rest of the board over the last month or two, that was also something that came up when it comes to policy is, where can we go for additional research, or where can we go for, generating policy before the board? And me coming into this role and coming into the county, I'm here to help you do that. So I just want to stress that, come up here and stress that before you today and just make that clear. So this committee and the other committees are going to be diving deep into a lot of different important critical issues. And so I'm here to help you every step of the way with all of that. So as kinds of procedure and legal process, Brad is too. And so feel free to rely on us as much as you want.
Our goal is, especially in this session, between the packets that you get and now with Mike being here, and Mike and I have worked together now for a while, and he's fantastic. Use him. He knows what he's doing. He's great. We hope that you're able to come to your meetings even that much more prepared and ready to tackle the issues. So when you get to the board meetings, your committee meetings, there's nothing that should be strange to you. You should be fully equipped with the information you need and ready to vote or ready to ask questions. So we want to put you in that position. That's what we're really striving to do this session.
Yeah. So, are there any other questions from committee members on any of that? Okay, great. Well, I will turn it over to, we'll move on to the department's portion of the orientation. So thank you very much.
That me? Good
Jamie.
evening. Most of you know me. I'm Jamie Ludovic. I'm the county's Chief Community Development Officer. Also currently serving as the Natural Resources Department Director. So one of my roles is I help liaison all of the county executives team that rolls up to this committee in working with the chair and with Mike on setting the agendas, which includes the Natural Resources Department, the Community Development Department, UW Extension, and then there are a number of elected offices that also roll up to this committee, which you're going to hear from, that we work together and they bring their items forward in the process that's been built by the county clerk. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit just about the Natural Resources Department, and I want to introduce essentially there are three other arms of the Natural Resources Department that you might hear from on the committee or that you might work more closely with. And so I want to make sure those people get a minute to introduce themselves and the work they do. I will say one of those individuals, Craig Cernajeski with the Washington County Golf Course, is not here today. He will kind of make an appearance at a future meeting to introduce himself for those of you that haven't worked with him. He included in your packet, there was an org chart that was built for customer service that has a number of the functions and individuals and contact information for various areas of the department. I encourage you to keep that somewhere in your files, or we can actually send it as a separate email to you that says Natural Resources Department contact chart, so that you can search for it should you need that. And then what we thought we would do is just hand out kind of some status updates on the just current projects we have going on. So I'm going to do that. That way, if you have any questions about any of kind of the current initiatives, you have that. And then we did also include in your packet in the consent agenda, kind of a list of upcoming events where you might, as county board supervisors this summer or over the course of the next 3 to 6 months, familiarize yourself with some of the locations or events that are happening related to some of the current work. So the big one I'm going to call out is you should have received a save the date for the ribbon cutting for the Washington County Golf Course expansion project. You are all county board members and returning county board members, so we're involved in approving that project. So that one's coming up. There's also going to be a ribbon cutting for the Heritage Trails Progressive Youth Skills area. I believe August 16th. Is that right? So that'll be another opportunity to see that work on the ground and get out to the park. So those are in your packet. But we wanted to kind of give an overview of what we thought the high level was. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to ask Brett Shear and Paul Backus to each just kind of give a very brief update of kind of their functions and how they work.
Good evening, everyone. Paul Backus. I'm the county conservationist in Washington County. I work primarily with rural landowners and farmers on clean water projects. I work a lot with our producer-led watershed group, Cedar Creek Farmers. And a lot of it's just getting out in the farm community, working with them, finding out what their problems are, and just trying to solve them in a kind of a one-on-one basis too. Couple other things that fall under my purview is I do some ordinance implementation at the county, is the erosion control and stormwater management, non-metallic mining, and the animal waste storage ordinance. I think it's a quick overview. I don't know if Jamie, there's anything else you want me to kind of add in there, if anyone's got any questions.
I was just thinking they'd introduce themselves and then we'd take any questions you have. We'll get to we'll be bringing this stuff forward in the next few months and you'll get an opportunity to dive into some of these topics, but we didn't want to go too crazy on you.
Paul, before you get away, we noticed we had a bunch of the pass-throughs, riparian buffers, that kind of thing. You oversee all of those, don't you?
Yeah, you'll probably see my name a lot on like some of these pass-through grants that we do. So we get a lot of money from like our state partners, and for that specifically for the purposes of putting conservation on the ground, the money comes to us, we sign a contract with the landowner, we reimburse that landowner, and then you guys are typically informed as part of your consent agenda of those items.
So I do want to jump in there because Paul comes to many of these meetings, but he may not attend for those consent cost share items. So if you see one for, say, you're a farmer down the road that you specifically are going to have a question on, if you can give us a heads up that either you're going to ask that question or we can follow up with you individually and give you all of the project details on that, that's helpful just so that we can make sure we're prepared depending on the project. If you said today, can you talk through what the water clean implications on the Pamperin Family Irrevocable Trust is and the location of that project? Paul is here, so he can answer that. But if he isn't here, we may not have that response readily available. So I just want to make sure you understand that as it relates to those items.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Sure.
You have the Rudolph one?
Yep.
Next week, correct? Can I ask how that went?
Oh, that was,
Able to attend to the work.
there was actually, we're coming up next week we have a walk and talk we're doing jointly with CLCF. That's gonna be, we're parking at the Rudolph Farm, but it's gonna be on the Wenninger property that they recently bought, and as we do work with them jointly to install some practices on. So you didn't miss it quite yet. Okay.
And that is one of the projects that is on the list of events coming up. But that was a conservation and heritage grant property
Yep.
that then had conservation practices installed. So that's a really good opportunity to see and dig in if any of you would like more education on kind of the work conservation does.
Paul's bringing up, thank you, a couple months ago. You walked that land, make sure the work that you partner with CLCF.
Okay, welcome.
Supervisor, do you want to pull that microphone a little closer to you?
Hi, I'm Brett Shear. I'm the land use manager here for the Natural Resources Department. My primary role here is the Shoreland Wetland Floodplain Code, administering it, issuing building permits. Our secondary role would be our POUTS, our private on-site waste treatment systems. We keep track of them for the whole county. I think we're number 6 overall for all counties, so we have a lot of systems here. And then we also issue the permits, inspect those, as long with soil tests too. Ordinance writing is a big part of the job also. In my secondary role, I do assist with the parks on some of these bigger projects as needed. You'll probably see me at Heritage Trails. Another one would be the pipeline project and getting that all buttoned up and finished. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yes, and I'd also like to say thank you to the constituents on a month or so ago on Heritage Trails and walking that. Thank you.
Yep, anytime.
And that's all I had unless you have more questions related to the Natural Resources Department. Again, that org chart is a really good resource for the functions, what people do, and kind of their areas of specialty as it relates to constituents, or if they have questions. It kind of gives you a flavor for all of the different work. So
And keep in mind, if you have any questions for the individuals or something you need to cover from the meeting, reach out to Mike and Mike will get to them. That's exactly what it's there for. So if the chart don't work for you, Mike will. So, all right, next thing we have on is the introduction of our Register of Deeds, Lisa Budish.
Afternoon. So as I said, my name is Lisa Budish, Register of Deeds. If you are not familiar with our office, basically we like to say if you live or die, sell or buy in Washington County, you need our office. We issue all vital records, so birth, death, marriage, divorce records. We also have all land records, mortgages, deeds, satisfactions, anything pertaining to purchasing a home is in our office. So I would like to invite new members, all seasoned members, anybody that wants to stop by the office. We can show you how we help our constituents every day. And we have land records going back to the early 1800s. We have all the books in our office. You can certainly come in and look at those. Hopefully you can read cursive because that's what they are for up until the 1930s. And then we also have the vital records going back to 1907. We have records before that, but it was not required to have the births recorded until then. You have any questions for me?
I just think it's an interesting sign of the times when you have to ask if we can read cursive.
Right? Isn't it? There are many people, like I've had college students come in and to look at the books and they can't read them. They can't read the cursive. So I don't know what they do. I don't know if they use AI to have it translated. Yeah, I don't know. But thankfully, I think schools are starting to teach cursive again. So, all right.
Any other
Feel free to
questions?
stop by the office anytime. Thank you.
Always good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. We'll look at the 2030 Fair Park Sustainability or Fair Park Fiscal Sustainability Plan. I have a few notes that I'd like to give to the committee. But first, let me start with a little bit of background. Some years ago, we developed our strategic priorities plan. Mr. Hartwig, you were certainly here for that. Brian Krebs, you were certainly here for that. And I believe it was brought forth by Supervisor Miller and possibly seconded by Supervisor Bertram, if I recall right, that quality of life be added to that sustainability, that strategic priorities plan. And an important part of the quality of life here, I'm sure we all recognize, is the Fair Park. And it's something that certainly we all enjoy. It's a huge attraction for our county. It is really one of the probably top 5 reasons to come to Washington County. I count Holy Hill as probably number 1 for myself personally. But having said that, we are doing a committee. A work group has been established to get Fair Park moving in the right direction. This group includes myself, Supervisor Carol Mary, that's why I said I believe he will be an asset to us because he also will be serving on this committee. So we'll be tag teaming it pretty hard. Supervisor Ken McCulick, Board Chairman Jeff Slife, County Executive Josh Showman, and the Fair Park Board. This group has a lot of experience and is invested in making sure Fair Park is financially sustainable for the future and for the county's residents. Overall, I would say the first meetings have gone well and we came to a lot of agreement. Representatives from the county and the Fair Park Board have productive conversations about what is possible and what can be done to ensure financial sustainability and the best path forward. With this group being formed and meetings underway, we have come a long way with Fair Park and AIS, and that is very exciting. I think the relationship is so much better than it has been in the past, and I'm really excited about what they're doing there. The work group is planning on meeting again soon, and updates from the work group will be given periodically to this committee. And I believe, as you saw in your packet, the overall sustainability plan will probably be presented, obviously, sometime after the fair because the fair kind of goes over everything right now. But we're expecting that sometime in the fall, we should have some workable items for this committee to consider. So are there any questions from the group? Not like I can cover a whole lot of what was said so far, and there hasn't been, a terrible amount, but if you have any questions. If not, reach out to Mike and he'd be happy to help you. Okay. And that, I believe, are we wrapped up? Oh, meeting date and time. Yes, yes. Okay, so because this is a makeup meeting and a special meeting, we will be back here again next Thursday. And that will be at 4:30, which is our time. For our meeting, yeah. It's a 4:30 meeting on the 3rd Thursday.
A week from tomorrow.
So a week from tomorrow.
The third week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that'd be the 18th of June, Bob. All right.
Any discussion on adjusting the monthly meeting?
We did that.
We didn't.
We didn't get to discuss it. No. Did you have something in mind?
Actually, this time is ideal.
4 o'clock, be a little bit tougher for me to get to. 4:30, I had, as you noticed in the last term, I didn't miss any.
Yes, we started at 4:30.
Yeah. That's what that's the time we've always had. Was there,
For, no, the second Wednesday
okay, and then you,
instead of Thursday.
that could run into conflict with
We
county
have a
board,
long Agenda here.
yeah, and
how do
county
we finish
board.
the County board's coming
Yeah.
right behind us.
We rarely have a long agenda.
If we had a fair amount of them.
I remember the park sustainability plan and the heritage trails went really long.
Remember the place with the sexual offender.
Yeah, that one went long. Yeah, I think that would probably,
Like tomorrow.
let's, Chairman Schleif would like to chime in. I'd like to hear from him.
Is there a different one?
It's up to this committee if you want to have it, but it should be after the county board meeting. Because typically at the county board, you take up all the business that was done and the standing committees that month. So you really want it to be after the county board meeting. And, if it's the next day, if that works for you folks, that's fine, but then you got a whole month to think about things. Typically,
Yeah.
we've clumped them all in that third week of the month or the fourth week because it gives us time to breathe. So
Yeah, and I think.
certainly
yeah,
whatever you guys think.
Yes,
Just my personal schedule for me, with being, like on a week, off a week, otherwise I'll, might be late or more chance of being remote. But if it was, the same week, say the second, Thursday of the month, I know I would be here in person, every single time.
Does the second Thursday conflict with other
With-
meetings in terms of staff requirements? I don't know. I have no idea.
Meetings that night.
uh,
I have town meetings that night. I have to be there for 5:30.
Oh,
yeah, that definitely didn't work for him. I will say this, Supervisor Conrath,
just wanted to discuss it.
yeah, and totally understood. I would have, yeah, I would have concerns with staff, also, we're preparing for county board and we're finally getting through that. And if it's one day to prepare for your next meeting for the committee, I'm not sure that gives us enough time before we wrap up the other one. But remote is still an option for you, and you've done well in getting in on remotes. So I appreciate you. Matter of fact, you did better than everybody else last one. So I would think that
That's okay. I appreciate the discussion. We hadn't explored any.
right. Okay, so we'll go with the third Thursday, 4:30. That's no conflict with you, visit.
What about Monday night, Monday or Tuesday night? Tuesday night I got village meetings, but, Monday night would be in the second week. I could do that.
Then you're before the county board meeting, you'd have to be after. And Mondays are Tuesday and terrible for me. It was either Wednesday or Thursdays, and all the other committee meetings are typically done on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So
Thursday work for you?
Mhm.
Does the third Thursday at 4:30 work for you?
The third Thursday, yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll just leave it as that. Oh, yeah.
The second Thursday, if we could have it like at 3:00.
yeah, I wouldn't make it by 3. That would be difficult.
Be able to either if I'm working, especially depending upon what time zone I'm in.
So, all right. So third Thursday, 4:30, keep it as it is at the moment. All right. So next meeting will then be next Thursday, the 18th at 4:30 here. And going forward, the third Thursday at 4:30.
Thank you for the discussion.
Seeing no more business, I will declare this meeting